Hello there. So today I will be taking a look at a figure. This thing. Now, for those who don't quite recognize what this figure is, this is the Baki the Grappler, the bloodied version. Doesn't really say anywhere. It's basically the exact same box with different pictures of Baki, with the picture of the new Baki. So here it is. First things first, we're going to look at the box. Here it is, son of Ogre, Baki Hanma, the Japanese name of him, I believe. There you go, the Japanese Hanma Baki. Here is the Storm Collectibles logo, and here is the picture of the figure. On the other side, it's the same thing, the logo figure, I believe. The other side is the exact same thing. Up here, it's just the logo again. Down here is a barcode warning and more warnings and some background people. At the back here, it shows poses which you could put the figure into, some of its accessories and poses. And so that is it for the box. Now let's actually take a look at the figure inside. And now here we have him out of the box. Now out of the box, like any Storm Collectibles figure, this figure feels great. He looks great. He moves great. Literally, those were my first impressions of him out of the box. And, not to mention, the paint on this guy is excellent. I know the bruises, the scuffing-looking marks, do look a bit cartoonish, but if you do watch the anime, if you do watch anime, they often do look like that. And the blood though, looks extremely realistic, to be honest. Even the bruises on his face. So it's a really well detailed figure. Well, that's no surprise considering this is Storm Collectibles, literally one of the best companies that ever makes figures, in my opinion at least. Some of the best. See, it's a very well detailed figure, but other than that, not much changes from the original Baki. Even the hands, the accessory in the hands. Only differences are the head sculpts, and obviously the paint, as you could see. You can see a lot of blood, a lot of bruises. And even the shorts are different. I do have the original Baki right next to me here. First thing you'll notice, for those who do own the original figure, the garter around here is noticeably red. Like I was saying, the garter here is, instead of white, it is noticeably red. Here I have the original one for comparison. There. I'm assuming that's just the red getting bloody. I mean, the white part just getting soaked in blood. I am not sure, even though I do love the Baki anime and I do watch the one on Netflix. I unfortunately am yet to get the time to watch the original series, which I believe this is the maximum tournament one, that version of him at least. So, yeah. So all that being said, there's not much more to say considering this is the exact same sculpt, except in the head, you could even notice it. There's actually not much in the hair, but the faces rather. The most different thing about this guy is his accessories. And obviously some of the paint job, which included the blood, which I already mentioned. And the blood is really well detailed. It does honestly look like blood. A bit cartoonish, obviously, for the sake of the fact that it is anime. But other than that, still does look like blood. You could obviously tell that's blood, not random red splotches, which is pretty cool considering there are a few figures that occasionally just look like they have random red blotches. But considering the fact that Storm Collectibles also made the original Mortal Kombat figures, they kind of know what they're doing when it comes to blood, considering all the bloody variants that they've released. So yeah, so that's all about the figure. Now let's move on to his accessories. So he comes with two sets of, he comes with 4 heads basically. So these are the first 3. Let's get a closer look at him. So here we have a bloodied yelling face. We have his normal bruised face, which is how he looks after the fight. And then here is his slightly bleeding from the mouth, angry, no pupils face. I have no idea what happens when he looks like this. So yeah, and then there's the more accurate angry yelling face that the original Baki kind of didn't come with. He did come with a yelling face. It didn't look like this. And yeah. And the 4th head is this, the Baki puking out blood, which is really awesome accessory, to be honest with you. I mean, it's cool. The blood is attached there, so you can't really remove it, but it is a really cool accessory that they did this. Really cool effect. Really nicely sculpted and painted. actually looks like blood. It's even slightly see-through if you look closer at it. So, really cool accessory. And by the way, the heads are compatible with the original Baki. So I'm gonna take this head off, and I'm gonna put, let's say, this head off, because this is the least damaged of his head. So you could put it on, and voila, looks cool. You could also fit this head. So the heads and hands are compatible. Like I already mentioned, they're compatible with each other since they are the exact same skull. So yeah, so those are the 4 heads Baki comes with, and then as for the hands, he has these two. He has these two, which are relaxed, slightly open hands, almost like he's grabbing onto something. See, these two are much more enclosed. These also look like they're grabbing something. They look more like grappling hands. These open palm hands, to be honest with you, all look like hands that are used for grappling. Well, he is called Baki the Grappler, so you better expect a lot of it. So yeah, they're all nicely detailed. They all have the same scuff marks. They look really textured, even down to the blood splotches. They're there. And then the other 2 hands he comes with are these two sort of, I don't know what you call these hands. They're another version of a fisted hand. I think this is how Baki's hands are when he's sort of in a fighting stance. So yeah, let me see if that could look at the light. Okay, there we go. So now that we've looked at his accessories, now let's put him into a size comparison. So first, let's measure this guy. So here I have a ruler. He stands at nearly 7 inches. If you look at it closer, there we go. He stands nearly 7 inches, 6, and I'm not sure how many it is, like 6.5 or 6.7 inches. So, despite Storm Collectibles claiming 1/12 scale, it's been pretty well known that they're actually closer to 1/10, since they do scale surprisingly well with McFarlane figures. Because if they were really 1/12, they would scale better with SH Figuarts or Marvel Legends of the sort. So, now let's do comparisons. Now that we mentioned, first here we have the original Baki, which is still a dope figure, and Yujiro. Let me just get that. Let me just fix him up. And as you can see, since he looks really well, he looks really good next to them. Obviously, same size, same scale, same company. Really cool. I need to do a review on these two. I'll do those soon, I promise. Then next here we have the other 2 fighting figures. So here is Oma Tokita from Kengan Ashura, and then here is, let me just stand him up since he was originally in a pose. And this is Ryan Kure from the same series. As you can see, these 2 are much bigger than him. Well, obviously, if you just look at their heights, they are obviously different. Baki is a really short person, and these 2 are massive people. So yeah, there you go. And since Baki and Kengan Ashura did have a crossover, you could display these together. They are actually on the same shelf but the Baki figures and the Kengan Ashura figures are actually on the same shelf in my displays, which I do have a video on. Do check it out. And then here is Sub-Zero, and this is still Storm Collectibles. This is the second Sub-Zero that they released, and here is Ryu. So if you also have Street Fighter, I know they never ever had an official crossover, but you could make a crossover between them. As you can see, they look really cool together. So that's it for the Storm Collectibles figures. Now let's go on to other lines, toy company lines basically. So here I have SH Figuarts 1.0 Vegito, the very first one that they ever released. Okay, he's kind of finicky standing up. And then here is the Mezco Sovereign Knight Batman. And like I said, very clearly Baki is too big for the 1/12 scale. You could sort of make it work if you're good enough at photography and whatnot, but for me personally, they don't work together. As you can see, Batman's supposed to be like what, 6'2", 6 feet exactly, so realistically he should be about as big as Yujiro. but that's not the case here. So with those two out of the way, now let's do these two. Dasin, can I pronounce it? Dasin model. Oops, he's not standing properly. Dasin model Ichigo, and I'll just stand him straight for now. Figma, this is a Figma figure. The next one, at least I'm like, oh my lord, what happened? And Figma Tanjiro. Okay, let's put those two away now. Let's put him into another 7-inch scale line of figures. Predators from NECA. And as you can see, obviously Predators are supposed to be 7 feet, nearly at least. He's pretty big. And since Storm Collectibles is similar in scale with NECA, McFarlane, those types of figures, at least for me, they're a lot closer in scale. They do work together. And then for me, these types of figures, I could never really tell whether they were 6-inch or 7-inch figures. They seem to work better with 6-inch figures, just sort of as stubbier people. Then here is, as you can see, is nearly the same size as Baki. This is a Mythic Legion figure. I'm not sure which character this is. I kind of just found them. So yeah, enough of those two. It looks cool next to them. Might eventually photograph Baki versus Predators. Here now we have, okay, let's do this guy first. We'll save the last two figures I have here for last, since they're my two most recent figures outside of this figure. This is a McFarlane figure. I am not sure, I forgot which character this is. I initially wanted him so in the future I could attempt to make a Ghost Rider custom. So yeah, if anyone knows the name of this guy, let me know, because I forgot. So as you can see, Baki is supposed to be around a 5'6" person. And very clearly, he is a 7-inch scale figure. The last two are two dark figures. Pun intended, sort of. So this is the Revoltech Agent Venom. Awesome figure, by the way. I highly recommend getting it, but just don't overpay for him. I kind of, sort of overpaid for him since I found him later for slightly cheaper, but worth it figure. Awesome figure. Expensive though, because even the store exclusive is so much more expensive. So anyway, this is the SH Figuarts Obi-Wan Kenobi Show Vader. Probably the best Vader figure I've seen in a while, because all the other ones did not have one thing he had, which I will probably do a review on this guy in the future, or maybe later after this one. Might do 2 in a row. So yeah, really cool figure, and they are next to Baki, both from the 6-inch scale line. And as you can see, Baki is a little too big. If Baki was supposed to be in scale with 6-inch figures, he'd probably be around this tall. Question mark? I'm not too sure. So yeah. And that is it for comparisons. Now let's do articulation and some slight posing while we're at it. So Baki, being a Storm Collectibles, has excellent range of motion. Some of it right now is just really stiff, like this neck peg. I don't really worm my Storm Collectibles figures, since eventually they do just pose on their own. So yeah, as you can see, this Baki, like the original one, has great range. So you could just out of the box. So the joints are still slightly tight, and since I did just get this guy like a few hours ago, he's definitely a bit tight. But you could already put him just out of the box. You could already put him in excellent poses. And the thing with Storm Collectibles, at least for me, that make them really, really great, is the fact that very rarely will a Storm Collectibles figure break. As of right now, I have 2 figures that are, not 3, 4 figures are unfortunately damaged, but that's pretty rare. That's like 4 out of 30 plus Storm Collectibles that I've owned. A single one of them is yet to, like, outside of those 4, those are the only 4 I've ever had break on me. Which is saying a lot, but considering most of those breakages were my fault. Either I played with them too rough, or I accidentally dropped them or something. But never have I had them just fall apart on me. Luckily though, I am yet to have a figure do that yet. But from everything that I heard, Storm Collectibles seems to have the best quality control out of most major companies, at least. I mean, Yeah, I hear a lot about certain SH figure arts breaking. Luckily, am I yet to hear about issues like that from Dragon Ball figures. But yeah. Yeah, as you can see, it's just a really cool figure. It's fun to play with him. You could legit just start posing him right out the box. Even here, let's also pose with this guy now. He's just sort of blocking. So this guy is a bit loose now because I played with him a lot. But, oh, God, the head. But he's still a pretty cool figure. Storm Collectibles really is not becoming. They are probably my favorite brand of figures, which kind of sucks that they don't try to branch out into other stuff. Like, I know as of right now they're sticking to video games and are slowly peeking into action figure, are slowly peeking into anime. They made Yujiro. They made what other anime figures have they made? I know they made some other anime figures, but these are the ones I know about. So they're mostly stuck to the fighting genre, which kind of sucks. Cause they should make Dragon Ball figures. I think they would kill Dragon Ball figures, honestly. I think they would do a really good job at making Dragon Ball figures. Because I think they would be particularly exceptional at it. Imagine a Storm Collectibles Goku or Broly. That would be awesome. But yeah, so as of right now, as next to Revoltech, they're probably my favorite company. Revoltech's doing the same. A lot of companies now are starting to jump into making anime. I just noticed that they're... Oh, so yeah, Marvel figures. Storm Collectibles should really try Marvel figures out. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I was here to talk about the figure. So yeah, so basically, awesome figure. Pretty standard when it comes to Storm Collectibles. Every single time I know Storm Collectibles makes a figure, I am automatically gonna assume it's a banger of a figure. I mean, just look at this guy. Just had him for less than a day, and I'm already having a blast with him. Really fun figure to play with, honestly. Storm Collectibles are honestly fun to play with because I have a very low fear of them actually... How do I explain this? Of them getting damaged. Because I know for a fact these things are gonna rarely get damaged. Like, I mean, not damaged, the fact that they're rarely gonna get loose joints. Like, them getting loose joints are, like, never just gonna happen to me. At least for me. Like, so far I'm yet to have a Storm Collectibles figure with insanely loose joints. But for other companies, oh, I've had that. The only company that I've not had loose joints with, but rather have had the trouble of really stiff joints is, honestly, McFarlane. McFarlane has really stiff joints. But yeah, I'm yet to have any figure from Storm Collectibles either be too stiff or be too... How do I say this? Either too stiff or too loose. I am yet to have that issue with them. And I am grateful for that. They are an awesome company. Even the ones that I kind of bought second-handed or I basically didn't get brand new were still awesome. As I say that, as I'm doing some posing for him. So yeah. So final thoughts. This Baki is an awesome figure. You should definitely get him if you get him for a reasonable price. Because the max you should ever pay for a figure, at least in my opinion, because I've spent some ridiculous money on a figure, is honestly just around, I don't know, but just don't overpay for him. Find the right price is basically what I'm trying to say. Don't go rushing to see the very first thing you see, because sometimes they might be overcharging you. Like I kind of have experience with that. I kind of got overcharged one time. But yeah, no biggie. So yeah, so a really awesome figure. Definitely recommend you get it. So yeah, don't really have much to say. It's an amazing figure. It's kind of like what I expected out of them. It's what I expected out of the box already. At the moment I saw this, I'm like, yep. It's going to be an awesome figure. So anyways, with that being said, I will see you guys next time. Bye. Anyway, bye for real.